The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild continues to do super well on Nintendo Switch. It is still one of the top sellers for the platform, and it kind of changed and revolutionized a little bit the way Zelda works in the modern age. Of course, the original Zelda was more open world, but the structure that Breath of the Wild had let players go and tackle their adventure in any way they see fit, and for me that was a really cool breath of fresh air. Now, will the next Zelda do that? I have no idea. Part of me really wants to go back to a more traditional format where there's like set dungeons and there's a set progression, but I know a lot of people love the open world aspect of it here, and now Nintendo is hiring for a new Legend of Zelda game. We are going to talk about this a little bit here and see what it means. Hello everybody, Gabe from Switch Force here, and I am getting this from VG247. I will have a link in the description to the article where I am going to be sourcing this, and originally spotted on Reset Era by some user. And Nintendo is hiring for a couple positions for the next Legend of Zelda. And the first is for a 3D CG designer that will be tasked with topography, creation for use in dungeons, as well as level and concept design for dungeons. Let's stop and talk about dungeons a little bit, because the way that Breath of the Wild did dungeon fights and the dungeons themselves was super creative, because these things were like living, breathing structures, and they were really fun. They were super creative, and I honestly had a really good time with them. But I do kind of miss the old ways of dungeons working out. I like getting a brand new weapon specifically for that dungeon that's going to allow me to use it through progress for the dungeon, and then once you complete the dungeon, you keep the weapon. There's going to be a boss at the end. I really like that old structure, so I kind of hope that that comes back a little bit. And I know that might be divisive just because Breath of the Wild is so beloved, and people really liked the way that it handled these things, but I do have a feeling that there are going to be some of you out there that, like me, miss these old dungeons. The next job is for a more broad level designer, and it's responsible for generalized game content such as enemies, world design, and more dungeon design planning. It does specify that there's really not a lot of other details about the project, and we're not going to know anything because it's probably some ways off. The Breath of the Wild isn't even 2 years old quite yet, so we're going to be waiting. I do think that we get it during the Switch life cycle, though. That was one of the main questions that I had after Breath of the Wild. I was like, okay, this is amazing. I love it, but do we get another Zelda during the Switch era? If you remember, the last game that was on multiple platforms for The Legend of Zelda and Twilight Princess was released both on Wii and GameCube. And now Breath of the Wild was on Wii U and Switch. And then we got Skyward Sword on Wii, so maybe we get another Legend of Zelda game on Switch. I really hope that's the case. They've talked about the Switch being around for quite some time, and if that's the case, I can imagine that towards the end of the life cycle of the console, we do get another Legend of Zelda game. Now, I don't know what this means for like the handheld ones, because Minish Cap for me is underrated. I actually really like the game. Spirit Tracks as well, another fun experience for me. I know other people might feel differently, but games like that I kind of miss. I don't think we're gonna go like another 2 or 3 years with zero Zelda. I think we still get some Zelda, whether it be on 3DS or a smaller adventure on Switch. That's my hope, but we will see how all that turns out. But for now, it's really awesome to know that Nintendo is hiring for something Legend of Zelda related. It's probably the next major game, if I'm honest, just because it's a 3D CG designer. And unless, that really wouldn't make sense unless it is for a remake. What about a Skyward Sword remake? That's something that people have kind of been wondering if it's going to happen, just because some of the other games have been remade already. I know that a lot of people had fun with Wind Waker and Ocarina being remade on handhelds and things like that. So, yes, could it be a remake of some kind? That's something I'm asking myself just now. I just thought of that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Would you be excited for another Legend of Zelda on Nintendo Switch? It's gonna be a while before we hear about it. There's no way that Nintendo announces this thing anytime soon. They're still working on it, and for me, that's perfectly fine. I just can't wait for whatever next adventure awaits Link and Zelda. Sound off in the comments below, letting us know what you think. And that's pretty much it. If you found this video informative or you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Maybe even hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our uploads. And with all of that said, we are going to go ahead and get out of here. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for watching. Twitter and Discord links are in the description. Follow us for some good times, and we will catch you later. Switch Force out.